Choosing is bad.
All right, boss lady, laying it down. You don't give the thumbs up? I'm going to tell Brad not to answer your question. Laying down the law on a Friday night. Curls and all.
Curls and all.
Yeah. Meanwhile, even though it's Friday, we do have to talk about this. It's actually very upsetting news to begin with, and I'm in all seriousness. 22 women have just gone public today with graphic descriptions of medical abuse in ICE detention facilities. One detained woman compared her visit to the gynecologist to being raped. She said, "I told him no, but he kept going. Relax," he told me. Another woman was told she was going to be deported just hours after talking with federal investigators about the medical treatment she received at Irwin County Detention Center, privately operated prison in Georgia. A third woman said she went in for a toothache. She thought she was going to have 2 molars removed. She woke up, 6 teeth were gone. During the 3-hour car ride back to the detention center, the woman who had her teeth removed, she was given no medicine to numb her pain, and she was spitting blood into a sweater. These testimonials are just a few from the 22 women who brought a lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security and the Trump administration for what is abuse, criminal acts.
Wow.
At least 6 of the women have been deported. 7 more are facing imminent deportation. Democratic members of Congress are asking that the women be granted special U visas. If you are the victim of a crime and you help in the investigation of that crime, you're entitled to a U visa and you can't be deported. So that's what these women should be getting right now from USCIS. The statements by the women include testimonials about mold-infested jail cells, guards beating up detained women, then dragging them from their room naked, psychiatric and breathing medicines being withheld, and women giving stained underwear to wear. Multiple women allege they want to share their stories with the congressional delegation that visited them in September, but the guards prevented them from meeting with the congressional delegation. In September, Dawn Wooden, a nurse formerly employed at Irwin County Detention Center, filed a complaint raising concerns about an undetermined number of hysterectomies supposedly performed there, basically medical negligence. The doctor accused of performing the unnecessary procedures, including hysterectomies, was later identified as Dr. Mahendra Amin, nicknamed the uterus collector by detainees. And this doctor, unfortunately, is an immigrant himself from India. That lawsuit started today. The government should bring back those women to come testify. They should get U visas. But, getting a U visa, I wouldn't want to go through that for a U visa. That's not even humane what they went through. So terrible, terrible news there. With millions of Americans left jobless and the pandemic ongoing, we're going to talk about the pandemic in a minute or two. Food banks and charities from New York to Los Angeles have been handing out free turkeys and other produce to help those in need enjoy a Thanksgiving meal this year. We were having so much fun, and then the news is so bad.
I know.
I'm depressed now. I was in such a good mood until I'm reading this news.
But it's part of our job to build awareness on these things.
That is true.
Our intern and immigration show, so sometimes it's not Friday.
It is not Friday today. It's Fry Sucks Day. This sucks, this news.
Friday.
Friday. Friday. Well, anyway, Thanksgiving, it's normally a time for feasting and celebrating. Obviously, we're not going to be able to feast and celebrate in big groups. In New York alone, Governor Cuomo said if you're going to be more than 10 people, you're committing a crime in the same home on Thanksgiving. At food banks in New York City on Monday, dozens of people lined up to receive a free turkey. Leslie Gordon, president of the Food Bank for New York City, told Reuters, even before the pandemic, there are 1.5 million residents here across the 5 boroughs who didn't always know where their next meal was coming from or what it will be. And that has escalated considerably to nearly 2 million of our neighbors. Ruth Crawford, who was waiting online to collect her turkey, told Reuters, it's a little shocking, it's a little sad. You don't think of yourself getting online to get a turkey. You don't think you're going to lose your job, but then things happen. So for those who don't have a turkey, there are food banks throughout New York City and Los Angeles for sure. Also through the YMCA in Los Angeles, where you can get food baskets as well. And perhaps we'll be able to put up some of those websites or places we can go in a little bit. I don't have it on my card, but hopefully we can get that. Rudy Giuliani's son tested positive for coronavirus today. Does anybody care that Rudy Giuliani's son has coronavirus other than Rudy Giuliani and his mother?
No, I care about his drip.
Did you guys see this picture? This was bad. That was a meme.
The drip?
yesterday.
His hair.
Yeah, well, yeah, that was at the news conference yesterday in which he continued to cast doubt on the results of the presidential election. People thought it was hair dye.
What was it?
I'll tell you what the general consensus is, that he used mascara to cover up his gray sideburns, and under the heat lights, the mascara started to run.
No.
Because he wanted his gray sideburns to match the rest of his face. Now, let me do a side profile here of Uncle Brad. I have side. Oops, this side. I always screw up. I have side gray here.
Gray sideburns.
Okay, and then it's darker here. Never, ever will you see me put mascara on here. Never.
Yeah.
You will never see Uncle Brad do that.
Might as well just dye it. Dye the whole thing.
Might as well just chop your head off at that point.
That just get away with the whole head?
Yeah, just take the whole. I mean, if you're so concerned about your gray sideburns, just chop your head off already. You know, you don't need your head anymore, right?
Right.
Obvious.
Yeah.
Right. Brad. That was a lot.
Let's see what else is happening here. We're gonna do the rest of the sad news on Monday.
Friday
What?
news. We're getting to the Friday news.
Yeah,
so
we'll do the rest of it. We'll do the rest of the sad news on Monday. You know what's also? This is interesting. We don't have a show on Monday. No, that's right. So let me do the rest of the sad news today. Where's the rest of my sad news?
How many is it?
There's a lot of sad news today.
Wow.
Nope.
Save them.
No. Where's the rest of my sad news? Maybe it's here. Yes, here it is.
There we go.
More sad
In my
news.
hand.
In more sad news, children facing imminent deportation. They're asking the Trump administration and President Biden for help. 2 children held in an ICE family detention facility in Texas wrote, "We thought the United States had a history of respecting the law and well-being of children." The 2 girls who penned the letter, they're 14 and 15 years old. They wrote the letter on behalf of 28 children and their families who are being held in the South Texas Family Residential Center in Dilley, Texas, but they are not being given the opportunity to apply for asylum. Why are they not being able to apply for asylum, Yo-Yo and Vanessa, you may ask? Yo-Yo and Vanessa, you may ask that question?
Yeah.
Why aren't they?
Why aren't they? Good question, Yo-Yo. Because Trump changed the law through regulation and executive order, it wasn't through Congress, that said if you touch another country on your way to the United States to apply for asylum, you cannot apply for asylum in the United States. You got to go back to that country that you first touched to apply. So that is why many Central Americans who are traveling from Guatemala, Honduras, they don't actually fly. They have to walk, take buses, a hike, hitchhike, and that's why they're not able to apply for asylum. So these families are being held in Dilley, Texas, and will ultimately be deported. And it's funny. It's not funny. It's actually funny, sad in a way, because the Trump administration, they say, we would accept their asylum case, but the law says we're not allowed to. Because you changed the freaking law so that nobody could apply for asylum. But you want to know what they'll do is they'll go on Fox News and say, all these people are trying to break the law by applying for asylum. We just want them to follow the law. But you just changed the law and now they can't.
Right.
They can't.
You frustrated their opportunity to even apply for asylum, but they go on like their poop don't stink. Oh, well, of course, if they were able to, follow the law, of course we would have absolutely accept their asylum case.
So annoying.
Yeah. Had you not changed the law? Duh. I hate seeing these images.
Friday, Yo-Yo. Friday, Vanessa. Friday.
Look how you look.
I'm angry now. I'm not having a good time anymore. I'm angry.
Oh.
Yeah.
Where's the 1942?
Exactly. According to multiple sources, the Trump administration is still trying to ram last-minute immigration policies through.
Sheesh, are you serious?
Yeah, for instance, the Department of Homeland Security is trying to ramp up agreements to send asylum seekers to Central American countries. Behind the push is Stephen the Lurch Miller. Trump's lead immigration advisor. But unfortunately, they're going to make people's lives miserable for another 2 months, and then Biden's going to come in. But the problem is that they're not coordinating with Biden in a transition. So, it's going to take months and months and months if there's no transition, which is what we're seeing right now. For Biden, there's so many things that he has to undo. You can't just undo it on day one because there's no transition.
That's just evil.
It's like, Yo-Yo, it's like, there's no Uncle Brad anymore. Let's assume there's no Uncle Brad anymore. And Yo-Yo now has to come in and be Uncle Yo-Yo and run an entire law firm. Okay, you're going to be able to fix everybody's immigration case, having not met anybody or knowing anything what's going on day one?
No.
And this is now not just, an office of cases. This is an entire country of cases.
Right.
So think about it.
Oh man. Yeah, that's but
Been thinking about it since
it's petty to me because it's like you're not gonna be in the White House right after. So it's like, you literally have a month and a half left, and within that month and a half, you're trying. This is what you're working on.
Yeah.
It's wild to me. It's like, why do you have so much hate for these people? Like, it's crazy.
He's just a freaking crybaby.
Like, it's wild to me.
Meanwhile, 253,000 people dead of coronavirus in the United States of America, and it's going up. Just for comparison, okay, 253,000 deaths, coronavirus in the United States. In all of World War II, 405,000 Americans died.
Jeez. Oh.
Okay. By the time March 1st comes around, if we continue on this trend, they say we'll be somewhere between 475,000 to 500,000 deaths, more than those Americans who died during World War II. There's more than 2,000 deaths happening per day right now. Now, why we say March, April is the day, because Pfizer has just applied today for emergency use to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for its coronavirus vaccine. The company announced that their phase 3 is complete, it is 95% effective, and that they want to start administering vaccines to frontline workers as early as next week. So why does March, April come into play with the number like we can be there? Because the vaccine is not going to be available to me and you, if me and you wants it, till approximately March. It's going to go to frontline workers, and it will then go to elderly in nursing homes and people who are ill. For the general public, it's going to be March. CVS Health Executive Vice President and Chief Medical Officer Troy Brennan, he said the company, CVS, is ready. They are focusing right now on getting the vaccine next week to nursing homes, but he expects stores in CVS to start vaccinating people by the last week of February or early March at the latest. He says they are ready to move rapidly. We have the capacity to do 25 million people per month out of a CVS drugstore to vaccinate. So that's why they say March, at least in the United States of America. That is hopefully if two things happen. One, this vaccine actually works. And two, people actually take it. So if that is the case, not to say in March the pandemic is over, to say in March we will have turned the corner, assuming people start taking the vaccines and assuming people, and you want to know who the guinea pigs are?
Ooh.
The old people in the nursing homes.
Aw.
They're the guinea pigs, right? They say it's going to the old people in nursing homes first.
Yeah, I was
right. So if you say so then you look at grandma survived till March. Maybe I'll take the vaccine. I mean, that's what it's going to be. As sad as it is.
Right.
Poor grandma. Poor grandma's got to decide, am I going to get killed by COVID or am I going to get killed by the vaccine?
By the vaccine. Wow.
But the reality is this, assuming, I know, Yo-Yo, you're not a vaccine guy. You're not going to do it.
No.
I know that. Assuming.
Funny thing is, I just got a text from a friend saying, "Hey, I'm in my spiritual realm stuff right now. Do not take the vaccine." I was like, "Oop, that's another sign."
Okay.
Look.
No. Right. All right. Well, that's your opinion. If 70% of Americans take it, it would end coronavirus as we know it here. So you need 70% herd mentality, or herd immunity, not mentality, the mentality of 70% to take it. So it's 70% vaccinated or already had it. That's basically it. That's the number that America has to reach to basically get people out of masks, back in planes, back in the offices, back in the clubs, back in the restaurants. 45,000 people have taken it so far, Yo-Yo. Would this change your mind? According to Pfizer, 45,000 people have taken the coronavirus vaccine over the last 6 months. All 45,000 people, other than for some apparently mild reactions that few percent had, and they say mild reactions would be a small fever, pain where the injection went in, nothing that required any sort of hospitalization. 45,000 people took it, and at least 6 months later, they're fine. And what they did was they split the vaccine between a placebo, which is basically half the people got sugar water and half the people got the vaccination. Of the people who got the sugar water, they got coronavirus as a percentage, like the rest of Americans, as a percentage. And those who took the vaccination were 95% less likely to get it. Does that change your mind at all? Is that something that you would even look into reading about?
I definitely would look into reading about it.
Right.
I just had a conversation with a woman about this today where I had asked her, I'm like, hey, she was telling me that she travels from London. She has a business both here and in London. And, the UK is completely back on lockdown now. And we started discussing like the vaccination, and she's like, I studied biology, and she was telling me how, she went to Columbia and all these things. And she's like, I really feel like it's going to be the only way for us to feel some sort of normacy, and that it'll be a time, I had asked her, how's the UK and here in comparison, and she's like, I just honestly feel like I do have hope that there'll be a time where we won't have to wear masks, and people that don't get the vaccine will have to continue wearing the mask, and I don't know, I'm hopeful for 2021 later, a much later 2021, even so maybe summer 2021, to be some sort of normacy.
If CVS is going to be able to vaccinate 25 million people a month, and I assume there'll be other stores as well, but let's just do the math. All right, 25. Let's say it's only CVS. The vaccine doesn't go anywhere else. You got to go to CVS or nowhere else. 25 million a month. That's 25 million in March, 25 million in April, 25 million in May, 25 million by June. It's 1/3 of America vaccinated against coronavirus by June. Plus frontline workers, plus grandma in the nursing home. So a little more than a third. Maybe call it 40% of Americans. I think by June, we'll still be wearing masks, but I don't think we're going to be, assuming people take the vaccination, I don't think we're going to be in restaurants, closing restaurants down at 10, and I think Yo-Yo is going to be back at the club at 2 a.m. Maybe wearing a mask because he's not. Maybe wearing a mask because he won't take the vaccination. But
you never know.
Right.
From what you said, like with the facts and all that, like right. I'm not all the way against. It's just like I know the history and I know my body. Anytime I take like a flu shot or anything like that, I get super sick. So that's just stuff that I know from my body. I'm not telling other people.
Sure.
Definitely not doing that.
Right.
Like I would never do that. And I actually wanted to ask the Brad Squad because the statistics that you gave, it's very interesting. So, and I know like before we asked the Brad Squad, and they were always like, no, I'm not taking no vaccine. And that's really, a cultural thing as well. With my culture, we don't do medicine like that. We do like herbals and whatnot. So I want to ask the Brad Squad, like with what Brad just said and like the statistics and the facts that he just gave, would that change your mind as well? Because now I'm like thinking about it.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
let's see it in the comments. Yeah.
We got to find out more statistics because these are the statistics that Pfizer's giving us.
Yeah.
Okay, these are the statistics that a company who wants to make money is giving us. So I mean, we got to play devil's advocate a little bit. Okay,
right.
But
see, that's what's always in the back of my mind.
Right, but I will say this. Okay, I'm 52 years old. I've been taking a flu shot for at least 20 years now, every year. I'm fine. Not now. That doesn't mean that you're going to compare a flu shot to COVID shot. Right. I'm sure when we were all young, almost everybody in the United States has taken a measles shot, a rubella shot. Lots of vaccinations already in your body when you were a kid that you probably don't even realize because you couldn't go to school in the United States without those shots.
Without those shots. Yeah.
All right. Yep. That's right. And you know what? I am sure the schools are going to require children to have COVID shots too to go to school. You're not going to go to school for that either. So at some point. So, everybody's scared of the unknown, but at the same time, you got to be scared of the known, which is COVID.
Right. Don Harriet said, I'm still very skeptical. I believe it was rushed.
Yeah, that's why I said I want to see other people take it first. And unfortunately, and we're going to see, I'm going to see other people, and everyone's going to see other people because we're not in the group that's going to get it first anyway.
Right.
So we're not frontline workers, and we're not, thank God we're not in nursing homes. So we got to see how the frontline workers do. So if you're a nurse or a doctor, you're going to probably take it, especially if you're working in a hospital. And we got to see how the patients in the nursing homes do. And, 3, 4, 5 months from now, if none of them are getting COVID and they all seem to be doing well, and the statistics bear out what Pfizer's telling us, I don't know, maybe I'm going to want to do it because, the alternative is to be quarantined in your home for the rest of your life.
Right.
I feel like we're getting more information, but we're still gaining a lot of knowledge on everything that's happening. We're adapting, things are changing, and we'll just have to look out for more, man, for us to decide.
Yeah.
So, by the way, Stargirl Mika says, this just sounds scary as AF. I don't want to say what AF means. Jessica Leamy also saying it's scary as AF. Willie L. Williams... He's not sure. He's not sure about this.
I like what Jessica Leamy said. Kudos to that 70%. Me and my kids ain't finna be a part of that.
Now, Carol Anderson, the Tiger, says when you take this vaccine, we're all going to go back to normal because if there's a cure, because it's going to cure the virus and you'll be able to stop wearing the masks. That's what I'm looking forward to most.
I'm so scared that I can't even imagine us not wearing masks anymore. Like, I don't know. This is just.
And by the way, Kiki on YouTube, she says it's still up for debate for her because she's not thinking about the effect of herself. She's thinking about the effect on her 9-year-old. Because she's responsible for this child that she loves and has a whole life ahead of him or her. I don't know if Kiki has a boy or girl. But, you don't know what it's going to do to somebody in 50 years from now or 40 years from now. Right. So she's concerned about that. And you know what? Valid point. Valid point.
Absolutely. Well, we'll see.
All right. So much for Friday. This was not a Friday. We started off strong. I was all excited for Friday.
I was too.
And it was just all.
Dancing.
It was all, we were dancing. We were ready to rock. And then I opened the news. I'm like, depression. Should we kill ourselves through COVID? Should we kill ourselves through vaccine? Who knows,
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, Donald Trump, the biggest thing going on in court with Donald Trump's lawsuit is what the hell's going down Rudy Giuliani's face?
Right.
By the way, all 4 of his lawsuits got tossed. In
Good.
Pennsylvania, in Michigan, in Georgia, and in Wisconsin, all got tossed. There's no lawsuit that looks like it's going to have any meat to it whatsoever. This press conference where he's got the mascara going down his side, it was just what anybody, the bigger the lie, the more believable it is, and it's not backed up by any facts. They were just saying big statements. It's a fraud. People voted who shouldn't have. Look at these numbers. This is that, but they didn't back it up with any. Didn't back it up with any meat. Meanwhile, Georgia is certified for Biden. Unfortunately for the United States of America, we got another 8 weeks of crybaby. He's not helping Biden transition. Eventually, the Electoral College is going to meet, and they're going to elect Joe Biden as the president. Well, these lawsuits are going to be bogus. Friday. Woohoo.
So much for Friday.
So much for Friday. Thanks for watching. For more Bradshaw Live, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.